Fighting is intensifying in eastern Ukraine hours before a new ceasefire is due to take effect. There are pictures of pro-Russia separatists on the outskirts of the town of Debaltseve. The government-held town has become the main focus of the combat. These images are said to show a build-up of Russian artillery to the northeast of the railway junction town. They were tweeted by the U.S. ambassador to Ukraine, Jeffrey Pyatt, on Friday. He said, "We are confident these are Russian military and not separatists." And these are the areas currently held by the separatist fighters. The rebel stronghold of Donetsk has seen shelling after the ceasefire deal was announced. There have also been reports of shelling and live fire in the rebel-held town of Luhansk. However, the main battle seems to be for control of Debaltseve. It's one of strategic importance as a railway town linking the two main rebel strongholds to Russia. Government forces currently hold Debaltseve, but they are under intense fire. Now, the peace plan, which will kick off at midnight on Saturday in just a few hours, is known as Minsk-2. The two sides have agreed to pull back heavy artillery from the front lines within 14 days. All foreign fighters and their weapons are to leave Ukraine. There'll be a demilitarized zone of at least 50 kilometers between the two sides along the agreed front lines. There'll also be an exchange of all prisoners within 5 days. If the withdrawal is successful, then local elections are to be held in the rebel-held Donetsk and Luhansk regions. Ukraine's troops are scheduled to have control over its border with Russia by the end of 2015, but that's conditional on Kiev granting more powers to eastern regions. Let's speak to Al Jazeera's Charles Stratford now, who joins us on the line from Donetsk. He's just returned from the front line. Charles, tell us about what you saw just a few hours ago.
Well, we came back across, as you say, across the front line from the area around Debaltseve this morning. Certainly Debaltseve yesterday, and so we were seeing again today a heavy troop build-up there, a lot of Ukrainian forces moving forward towards Debaltseve. As we came across the frontline border, it was relatively quiet. We'd heard reports here in Donetsk, from people here in Donetsk, that there'd been a lot of heavy shelling in the morning, but certainly as we came through, it was quite quiet. However, that changed around about an hour ago. We were attending a press conference, or waiting for a press conference to start, being given by one of the separatist leaders here, Alexander Zakashenko, and there were 3 shells that landed progressively closer to that building. All of a sudden, panic among the few people that were on the streets. As I say, there had been this lull for a few hours, but it seems steadily to be escalating. There was a response around 10 minutes after those 3 attacks by what sounded like artillery and Grad rockets being fired from positions. It was difficult to say where exactly, but certainly around Donetsk. So as I say, there does seem to be this steady escalation. It was interesting as we came across the checkpoints today. The separatists had set up more to positions that hadn't been there only yesterday when we crossed to go over to Debaltseve. The Ukrainian military are also saying that there are ongoing battles around the southern port city of Mariupol. So certainly things not looking good as we get close to this scheduled ceasefire start.
Right, and I was going to ask you, in light of these events, Charles, what are the prospects of the ceasefire actually taking hold?
Well, this is it. This is what everybody has been saying. You think that the fighting has got worse since that ceasefire agreement was signed. It's obviously we've had a couple of days since then. The ceasefire is due to start tonight, and it seems as if both sides are either trying to consolidate their positions or certainly even take more territory, as we're seeing in Debaltseve, certainly. We spoke to a separatist fighter at a checkpoint today as we crossed into the separatist-controlled area, and in his words, he said things were going to go crazy tonight, referring to what he said was the period between nightfall and the ceasefire starting around midnight. We've also seen, over the last 24 hours, according to the Ukrainian military, at least 7 soldiers killed, another 23 wounded. There were 3 people reportedly killed in Atomsk last night, overnight as well, in Ukrainian military-controlled territory. So certainly at this stage, it's frankly not looking very good.
Okay, Charles, thank you very much. That's Al Jazeera's Charles Stratford on the line there from Donetsk.